Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a company that's been making some really astonishing moves, but often stays in the shadows. Palantir.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
For a lot of people, it's still this secretive name, right? But get this. Its market cap surged, what, like 500% in the last? I mean, that's just explosive growth.
Absolutely explosive.
Yet the core mystery kind of hangs there for many people. How exactly does Palantir actually make its money?
It's a great question, and definitely one we hear a lot. We know the client list is impressive.
Oh, yeah.
You know, U.S. intelligence agencies, CIA, NSA, FBI, and militaries too. Think Israel, Ukraine.
Big players.
And they're always mentioned in the same breath as AI, big data analysis.
Yeah.
So, yeah, our mission today for you is really to pull back that curtain,
Let's do it.
answer that question. What is Palantir really? And what's driving this, well, this incredible success?
Okay, let's unpack that. The whole origin story, it actually goes back to a really painful lesson from 9/11. The company started May 2003. Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, Stephen Cohen, Joe Lonsdale. And the 9/11 Commission, famously said the failure wasn't a lack of data.
Right, that's key.
It was that they couldn't connect the dots.
And that specific insight, that became Palantir's foundation, their whole reason for being.
Addressing that exact problem.
Exactly. How do you take all these scattered bits of information, often totally different types, and do them into something, actionable? Intelligence you can use.
And Thiel brought experience from PayPal, right? Fraud
Yeah.
detection.
Yeah, Peter Thiel realized those same pattern-finding principles they used against financial fraud at PayPal could be applied to national security. A big leap.
Which, okay, brings us to the name, Palantir. It's not just random.
No, not at all. It's straight out of Tolkien. Lord of the Rings.
Right, the Seeing Stones.
Exactly. A Palantir is like this indestructible crystal ball, basically. It lets you see things far away, even glimpse the past or future sometimes.
It's a perfect metaphor, really, deriving these crucial insights from data that looks scattered, unrelated.
Yeah, it really captures their whole philosophy. And their mission statement, right from the get-go, was ambitious. Prevent terrorism.
But also uphold civil liberties. That's a tough balancing act.
A very fine line they aim to walk.
Absolutely. And what's really interesting, I think, is they don't just sell software packages off the shelf.
No, that's not their model.
They talk about providing a decision operating system. What does that even mean?
Well, think of it like the core system that manages how decisions get made. It pulls together the data, the analysis tools, simulation capabilities, and even the execution part.
All in one place.
All integrated. The whole point is to build this coherent system designed to tackle these incredibly complex problems their clients face. It's about creating an environment where data isn't just sitting there.
It's actively driving things.
Exactly. Informing decisions, driving actions, and that really sets the stage for how they manage to get these results.
Okay, so if we're talking about Palantir's edge, their, competitive moat, you mentioned it comes down to something called ontology.
Yes, ontology.
Sounds very philosophical. What's that mean when we're talking about data and tech?
Well, it does come from philosophy, you're right. But in the IT world, ontology is about defining and structuring concepts, real-world objects and their relationships so that computers can actually understand them.
Giving data meaning, context.
Exactly. You're giving it meaning and context. Palantir built their whole platform around this idea because, look, without it, you can have all the big data in the world.
Right.
But if your systems, your data sources, are all speaking different languages, like a Tower of Babel, getting real insights is incredibly hard. They just can't connect.
So it's like building a universal translator, a common language for all the different data silos in an organization.
That is a great way to put it. Palantir's ontology, it unifies the names, the structures of all that scattered data. It creates that common language.
Okay, give me an example.
Sure. Imagine in one factory system, a part is logged as motor 001, but maybe in another factory, the exact same part is down as motor A.
Okay, a person would know it's the same thing.
Right, intuitively.
Yeah.
But a standard computer system, it treats them as totally separate items.
And Palantir's ontology connects them.
Precisely. When you apply the ontology, those different names get linked to the same underlying object, the same motor. Then you add relationship info.
Like where it is or what it's used in.
Yeah, maybe installed in factory A on one record and B factory inventory on the other. Suddenly, what were just isolated data points in different systems become this interconnected network.
That feels like a massive step up from just like a static data dictionary or something.
Oh, it is. It's a living model, not just a list of definitions.
The living model. How does that work?
It's structured basically in 3 layers. Think of it like this. First, the semantic layer. That defines the shared language, the structure for all your data. What does employee mean, or customer, or transaction? Standardizing it across the board.
Okay, the foundation.
Then second, the kinetic layer. This connects that conceptual model to the real-time data streams. It's constantly updating as things actually happen.
So pulling live info from databases, sensors, files.
Right, keeping that model, that digital twin, synchronized with reality. And finally, the dynamic layer. This is where the intelligence comes in. It defines rules, behaviors. It lets the system make judgments, react automatically,
Wow.
put them together, and you get this living, intelligent digital replica, a digital twin of the entire organization.
Okay.
And this dynamic self-updating model, that's really Palantir's secret sauce. It's how they turn static data into real-time operational intelligence. It makes continuous adaptation, not just one-off analysis, possible for their clients.
So it's not just a map of the info, it's like a thinking brain for the company. This ontology thing, it's clearly the core. It enables everything else they do, the integration, analysis, simulation, execution.
Exactly. And built right on top of this really powerful ontology engine, Palantir developed 2 main platforms. You've probably heard of them, Gotham and Foundry.
Right. Gotham for government, Foundry for business.
You got it. Gotham is tailored for government, defense, intelligence. Foundry is aimed at the commercial sector.
Okay, let's start with Gotham. That's the one people often link with, spy agencies and military stuff. What does it actually do day to day?
Sure. Gotham is fundamentally an operating system for data integration and analysis, specifically for defense and intelligence users. Its main job is pulling together huge amounts of unstructured data.
What counts as unstructured?
Things like phone call logs, bank transactions, vehicle locations from GPS, maybe CCTV footage, stuff that comes in all kinds of different formats.
Okay.
Gotham takes all that and it reconstructs it into a connected graph. It links the individual data points, letting analysts visualize these hidden networks, spot patterns, find anomalies that you just never see looking at pieces in isolation.
Can you paint a picture? Like, how would an intelligence operative use this?
Okay, let's say an analyst gets just one piece of info, a suspect's phone number, call it phone A. They punch that into Gotham. Yeah. Instantly, Gotham starts scanning, say, communication intersect databases. It finds numbers B and C that phone A called frequently. At the same time, it links over to financial transaction databases.
Okay.
Maybe it finds bank account X, which number B regularly sent money to. Then it queries maybe vehicle rental records for the owner of account X, pulls their car's license plate, and matches that with GPS movement data.
Wow, that's connecting a lot of dots fast.
Exactly. What used to take maybe multiple departments, weeks, or even months of digging and sharing info, Gotham automates it in like seconds or minutes. It lets them instantly see this hidden picture, this network, and pull out critical clues.
That's incredible. And you mentioned real-world uses.
Oh, yeah. This kind of tech has been credited with playing really crucial roles. Identifying IED network leaders in Iraq and Afghanistan, for example, even tracking down missing child abductors, sometimes finding leads in under a minute.
From just one starting data point, like a phone number, building that whole network out, how fast does it actually do that?
It's designed to be near real time. The processing, the connecting of dots, it happens incredibly quickly, delivering insights right when they're needed for operations.
Amazing. Okay, so that's Gotham. Now let's pivot to the corporate side. Foundry.
Right, Foundry, their platform for the business world.
How does Foundry take that same kind of underlying power, that ontology engine, and apply it to, say, manufacturing or finance challenges?
Well, Foundry is essentially an integrated operating platform too, but for the enterprise. It consolidates data from all across the company to create that digital twin, mirroring the business operations in the real world.
Using ontology again?
Exactly. Using ontology to link data from all those different department systems, manufacturing, finance, logistics, HR, sales. Everything gets pulled into one unified data asset for the whole company.
And then what sits on top of that data asset?
Various applications, tools for simulation, for finding bottlenecks in processes, for forecasting demand, and so on. This real-time model of the company empowers employees. They can intuitively explore data, work together, and make better operational decisions, often with AI helping out.
So it could potentially help companies spot big problems before they happen, like predictive maintenance on machinery. Can you give an example?
Precisely. Predictive maintenance is a classic use case. So consider an airline, let's call it an airline A. They were losing millions because of AOG incidents.
Aircraft on ground, planes stuck needing repairs.
Right. Often due to unexpected engine failures. So they brought in Palantir Foundry. First step, connect all the relevant data.
What kind of data?
Aircraft engine sensor readings, maintenance logs, parts inventory levels, flight schedules, everything fed into Foundry to build that ontology-based digital twin of their operations.
Okay, so the digital twin is built. What did Foundry find?
Foundry's AI model started analyzing all that data.
Yeah.
It found these tiny, almost imperceptible vibration patterns in one specific engine component, maybe a turbine blade.
Okay.
And it figured out that once that component hit about 300 hours of flight time, the chance of it failing shot way up.
Wow.
But it didn't stop there. By linking in the supply chain data, it also identified that the specific replacement parts needed were only stocked in a warehouse way over in Singapore.
That's amazing. So specific. But what are the hurdles? Getting something like this adopted must be tough.
Oh, definitely. The biggest initial hurdle is often cultural, getting different departments who maybe guarded their data before to agree on that common data language.
Sure.
And trusting a system to start making these proactive calls.
Trust is key.
But once the value gets proven, like it did here, those barriers tend to shrink pretty quickly.
So what happened next with Airline A?
Based on that insight, the vibration pattern, the 300 hours, the part location Foundry, kicked off a predictive maintenance workflow. Automatically, it sent a real-time alert. Aircraft B, which was scheduled to land in London soon, had a component nearing that critical lifespan. It then automatically ordered the needed part shipped from Singapore to London ahead of time.
Proactive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The maintenance crew in London got the alert, got the part, and swapped it out right when the plane landed. Prevented a really costly flight cancellation, probably saved the airline millions.
It's incredible. It automates that whole chain. Spot the anomaly in sensor data, connect it with supply chain and schedule info to make a judgment, and then execute the fix.
Right.
It's solving problems before a human might even notice them, leading to huge savings and efficiency gains.
That's the power of it. And you see major global companies using Foundry now. Airbus, Merck, JP Morgan.
But, you do hear criticism sometimes about the cost, the complexity of these Palantir deployments. They sound massive.
They can be.
How does Palantir handle those concerns, especially when they're trying to win new clients?
That's a really fair point, and it actually leads right into their pretty unique sales model. It's not typical software sales.
How so?
Palantir CEO Alex Karp, he's often said they deliberately choose to work with organizations that are facing really complex, maybe even existential problems. Their whole strategy is basically, let us solve your hardest problem with you, build trust that way, and then become essential to how you operate.
Okay.
It kind of breaks down into 3 stages: acquire, expand, and scale.
All right, let's dig into that. What's this acquire phase all about? How's it different?
So in the acquire stage, Palantir first identifies that one really tough challenge the potential client is desperate to fix. Then they commit to an initial pilot project.
A trial run.
Right, but here's the key. Sometimes they'll even do this pilot at a financial loss to themselves. Their only goal in this stage is to definitively prove they can solve that specific complex problem for the client.
Okay, how do they prove it?
They deploy their elite engineers. They call them forward deployment engineers, or FDEs. These aren't just remote support. These FDEs physically go and live on site with the client.
Embedded in the client's team.
Exactly. Working side by side, intensely focused on solving that one problem. They act like strategic consultants, engineers, and product managers all rolled into one. They configure the Palantir software for the client's specific environment, and if needed, they'll even build new features right there on the spot.
So they're not just dropping off software in a manual, they're embedding themselves, showing immediate hands-on value.
Precisely. It's very execution-focused. Actually, Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO, he praised this FDE approach. He said something like, it's fantastic. They go into a customer and actually make the system work.
High praise from Microsoft.
Yeah, he emphasized how different it is from traditional consulting, which might just leave you with a big report and recommendations. Palantir builds the solution with you. Clients see real results, fast, and that naturally builds a ton of trust.
Okay, that sounds like a powerful way to start a relationship. What happens after they nail that pilot project? Stage 2.
Stage 2 is extend. After that initial success, Palantir proposes broadening the scope. moving from maybe just one department or that single pilot use case to an enterprise-wide deployment.
Okay, the bigger contract.
Right. This is usually when the longer-term, multi-year subscription contracts get signed and Palantir starts generating more stable profits. And because the clients saw in stage one how hard that problem was to solve without Palantir.
They're usually pretty willing to expand.
Exactly. They've seen the value firsthand. So in this expand phase, the Palantir team works to integrate their software more deeply across the client's organization, demonstrating its value as this central hub for data integration and collaboration.
So they get really woven into the fabric of the client's operations. What about the final stage, scale?
Right, scale. Once Palantir's platform becomes really indispensable, deeply embedded in how the client operates day to day, Palantir moves into the scale phase. This is where they generate higher profits by becoming more efficient themselves.
How do they do that?
Their secret weapon here is a system they developed called Apollo.
Apollo.
Yeah, Apollo is basically an automated deployment and update system. It lets Palantir remotely manage and integrate all the Palantir software installed across thousands of different client environments all over the world from one central point.
So they don't need engineers on site for every little update.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think about traditional on-premise software, upgrades, patches that used to mean sending engineers out to each client location. Super inefficient.
Yeah.
But thanks to Apollo, Palantir can manage all these client systems centrally, almost like it's a cloud SaaS product, even if the software is running on the client's hardware.
That must save a lot of time and money.
Huge amounts. They say Apollo allows them to deploy software updates something like over 10,000 times a day across their whole client base. It drastically cuts their labor costs and lets them improve the service continuously for everyone.
Okay, so putting it all together, embedded the FDEs early on, solve a critical problem to prove value, expand the usage, and then use Apollo to manage it all efficiently at scale. It really does sound like they make themselves indispensable.
That's the goal.
You can see why clients might say, it's hard to imagine running our business without Palantir.
That lock-in, built on trust and proven results, that's Palantir's strongest asset, really. They don't just deliver a product, they build operational infrastructure and evolve right alongside the client. It creates this incredibly sticky, sustainable revenue stream.
Okay, this brings us right up to the present moment. Everyone's talking about generative AI, large language models, LLMs. How does Palantir, with its 2 decades of history, fit into this new AI era?
It's a great question because, the success of any AI, especially these LLMs, depends massively on the quality of the data you feed it.
Right, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. And this is where Palantir believes it has a really unique advantage. For 20 years, they've been focused on building these high-quality, structured, contextualized data environments for their clients using that ontology technology we talked about.
So the foundation was already there.
Precisely. Alex Karp, the CEO, he likes to say, we'd have been cultivating the soil for AI for 20 years. His point is that all those accumulated data assets, that deep understanding of ontology, developed by solving messy, real-world problems, that's their competitive edge now as AI takes center stage. It's bearing fruit.
So that long history with ontology is like their secret weapon for making AI genuinely useful in a complex business or government setting. It's the foundation. What's their big play right now in the AI space?
Their main thrust is something called the Artificial Intelligence Platform, or AIP.
AIP.
Yeah. Simply put, AIP is basically a conversational AI interface, like a chatbot.
Like ChatGPT.
Similar interaction style, yeah.
Oh.
But it integrates those large language models directly with the client's ontology-based digital twin that Foundry or Gotham has built.
Okay, what does that mean for a user?
It means users can now interact with all that complex connected data just by talking or typing in natural language. Instead of writing complex database queries or clicking through dozens of dashboards, you could just ask the AI.
Like what?
Like, what happens to our supply chain if we increase factory production volume by 20%, prioritizing back product profitability? Just ask it like you'd ask a person or ChatGPT.
That sounds incredibly powerful. But walk us through the implications. An AI assistant that doesn't just analyze, but can also execute based on that analysis. What does that do to human roles?
It's potentially a profound shift, yeah. The AI assistant within AIP, it can access all that real-time data linked through the ontology. You can run simulations of different scenarios, figure out the optimal solution based on the criteria you give it, make a decision, and then actually trigger the actions needed to execute that decision.
Wow.
It's almost like, using a cheat code in a complex strategy game. The AI finds the best move without the human needing to manually calculate every single variable and consequence.
So what's left for the humans?
The human role shifts.
Mm-hmm.
It moves away from the manual data crunching, the report pulling, the button clicking for execution. It moves towards higher level strategy, oversight, defining the problems for the AI to solve, setting the goals and constraints.
More strategic, less tactical execution.
Exactly. Palantir talks about this, signifying a shift in how enterprises operate, moving from just partial automation of tasks to true autonomous operation. Their big vision for AIP is to help clients move towards this state of almost complete digital autonomous
To
management.
the point where
To the point where, yeah, they genuinely can't imagine running their operations without the Palantir platform orchestrating things.
it really makes you pause and think, doesn't it? How different this is from the data challenges most of us face day to day. Just trying to link up a few spreadsheets can feel impossible sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. This is problem solving on a completely different scale. Global intelligence networks, massive multinational corporations, the complexity is immense.
And that scale brings us to kind of a final big thought, maybe.
Okay.
You look back at the history of IT, right? There have always been these dominant platforms that define an era.
Clear winners.
Microsoft Windows totally owned the PC era. Then Apple's iOS and Google's Android took over for mobile. Amazon's AWS became the standard for cloud infrastructure. NVIDIA's CUDA for AI training.
Each wave had its defining platform.
So Palantir's ambition seems pretty clear. They want to be the defining platform for this next era, the era of autonomous operation.
That's exactly how they position it. They literally call Foundry the operating system for modern enterprises. They're aiming squarely at dominating that core decision-making layer in the age of AI.
Do you think they can pull it off?
Well, they certainly seem uniquely positioned right now. That ability to provide a single unified OS that doesn't just analyze data but turns it into insight and enables immediate action. That's powerful.
Others will try, surely.
Oh, competitors will emerge, absolutely.
Yeah.
And big companies might try to build their own internal solutions. But Palantir has that 2-decade head start specifically on ontology, plus all that practical real-world experience embedding themselves in complex environments.
Yeah.
That's hard to replicate quickly.
Yeah, that FDE model, the deep integration.
It suggests they won't be easily displaced where they've established themselves.
Indeed. And when you hear that customer sentiment again, it's hard to imagine an organization running without Palantir. It really leaves you with a pretty provocative question to think about, doesn't it? Will Palantir actually become the Windows or the Android of this AI-driven era?
Yeah.
Will they fundamentally reshape how entire organizations make decisions and operate from the ground up? Something to ponder.